Hey guys, welcome back. So this probably looks slightly different than the last time you saw it. So I'll give you a quick walk around and we'll talk about what the fuck happened. So, as you can see, a lot of sheet metal's gone. We have a simplified interior going on, if you know what I'm saying. Gonna come back to that in a minute. Yeah, so in case you haven't guessed, no longer a street car. This is full race car from now on. So I do that. So I ordered a new truck, a Ford F-150, just like a plain Jane regular cab, 8-foot box, no real just a few options here and there. Just it's a cheap truck, but that's going to be the tow vehicle, and I got the 2.7 EcoBoost for anybody that cares. It's got like safety stuff. I got a towing package, so it'll tow 10,000 pounds. It's got the 2.7 EcoBoost, 373s, electronic locker, probably a few other things, but that's the important stuff. So that's going to be great. That'll probably actually be the daily driver, and then the Mercedes I think is going to be more of a weekend car. Maybe turn it into a project car down the road. I don't know. But once I ordered the truck, I'm still waiting on it. I don't have a truck yet. It's going to be like 3 months or whatever. That's what they told me. But I still got to buy a trailer. Haven't decided yet. But we're going to trailer this thing to the track. So that's great. Race car only. So there's so much work we can do to make this faster. So a buddy of mine named Marshall, he's got a Miata. It's very similar to mine, except his runs, and it's faster. He's running like 650s in the 8th mile right now, which this car only went 690s. So he's significantly faster. And now we're looking to get this car to run really quick too. So, getting some advice from him, seeing what he does, and reading up more on racing, simplicity and weight savings is a big deal. So I gotta take this off. I'm working on the engine right now. I just had that covered to keep dirt out. But anyway, simplicity. So it's all took apart right now, but a lot of the stuff that's missing is not going back in the car. We're still a little bit undetermined what we're going to do, but you can see like the air conditioning completely gone. Everything, just took it out. It kind of hurt, but it was the right thing to do for a race car. That's a lot of weight. I don't know how much it weighs, but it's all that crap's heavy, so I had to take it out. The cooling system, I still haven't decided. I think I did decide actually. We're still going to run roughly the same cooling system, but we're going to redo that on the next engine. But for now, we're just going to kind of patch this together. It's still going to have a mechanical water pump. We're still going to have water coming out of the back of the head, things like that. But one thing we're going to do, this is the old radiator with the fans, and this thing works really great. It's like the Super Miata cross-flow radiator with some FM fan shroud. It's got these little flapper things that barely do anything, but it's got them. And then really awesome spout fans. So this thing's very effective, but it's heavy as hell. So if you see this little guy, this is like a Honda Civic half-size radiator that I just recently bought. And what's great about this is this thing weighs like 2 pounds or whatever. It weighs 2 or 3 pounds. It weighs almost nothing, but it's a half size, so it's way smaller. As you can see, if I back up, it's easier to tell. That's the condenser back here that came out of the car. But yeah, this little radiator is going to save a lot of space and save some weight, so that's nice. So we're going to put that in the car and stick a little fan on it. Again, I don't need these massive fans like I did for a street car, because I don't, it's just a different use case. So for drag racing, I can just put pretty much anything on there and it'll work. So that's going to be cool. Obviously all the emissions equipment's gone. I've just basically been unbolting and removing everything I could think of that I don't absolutely have to have. So one of the big problems that I was up against, one of the things that was kind of like holding me back on all this, was the wiring. What I was going to do with the wiring. Well, we've made that decision. Let me show you what we're going to do with the wiring. This is what we're doing. We just took it out of the car. God, this thing looks awful. Look at that. What's funny is, this is not the first time I've ripped the entire wiring out of the car. Back about, I don't know, it was 5-6 years ago or something. I actually purchased the entire wiring harness for the vehicle, and I stripped it down and replaced it. So at the time I needed to do it, but now it's all back out of the car again. But yeah, we just totally got rid of it. We're going to rewire it, obviously, but we're only putting in what we need. That'll be separate video. The exhaust. We built this badass exhaust system. We took it off. It's heavy. I don't actually need it to be quiet. If it's a race car. So, goodbye. The AC is gone. We have been taking all kinds of pieces and parts. Like this is a wiring harness sitting on top, but underneath this thing's full of like parts and motors and metal. I've been cutting lots of metal out of the car. All kinds of stuff. I haven't really weighed it, but if you look at the car now, you can tell like there's so much missing that, you know, is usually in here in a Miata. One thing we're not done with is these fender wells, the wheel wells. I mean, we actually went in here and started cutting. We've cut some of this out, but we still got some work to do there. I guess that's another big thing that y'all haven't seen. I got the slicks to fit, sort of. The car is sitting, I got it lowered, so like the car actually sits level right now, and these fit. But what I'm not sure of is if at full compression, if they hit the sheet metal. I haven't checked for that. I'm going to, but I haven't checked for it. So that's something that's in the works. I got to get these wheel wells cut out, and then pull the coilovers, take the springs out, put it back together, see where they, you know, hit the bump stops, and then I can find out if I got more sheet metal work to do. But it's in progress. These big old things actually fit. Another cool thing, this actually mattered a lot to me, is this piece of sheet metal right here. So this, years ago, somebody hit my car and dented the car, and it really made me sad. There's a very sad story behind this, but basically it never got fixed, even though it should have. And I actually bought one of these panels from somebody and had to get them to cut it off the car. This doesn't unbolt. This is like part of the car, so it's hard to get a replacement. But I had somebody send me one of these, and unfortunately it was damaged and I couldn't use it, but I eventually decided to try to use it anyway. And so that's on the car, and this is welded, so you can still see a little bit of like, barely you can tell there's a little bit of distortion there. But the goal was I wanted to put this on without using Bondo. I'm not really a sheet metal guy, but for whatever reason I just thought I could do this, and it turned out mostly okay. You can see down here, you can see some of the welds. The only real bad spot is right here. This, you can tell, doesn't line up. Up here where these meet, it's beautiful. You could damn near just paint that. It needs more than paint, but it's close. But here it's pretty fucked up. So we're gonna have to Bondo that, or we're gonna have to cut and re-weld or something. But I got it close and decided to move on to something else. But that's a huge one for me. That little dent's always bugged me. So that's kind of cool. So I guess another big update, of course, is going to be the interior. So a lot of this is to be determined, but essentially the plan is to just remove every single thing that doesn't have to be here, and go from there. So even the steering column, I haven't got to this yet. I'm going to look and see if you can buy like an aftermarket one that's lighter and simpler, just because this one just seems heavy and I don't like it. So I'm going to look into that. But most of this other stuff's gone. Dashboards, carpets, seats, you know, windows, things like that. Took a lot of stuff out of here, and there's still more to do, but it's getting there. Now that we got that AC out, we're going to go across the firewall and knock out some brackets and studs, and all these little holes here, we're going to weld those shut. One thing I don't like is that firewall isn't really a firewall when it's got holes in it. I mean, look at all the holes in this thing. Now granted, they're from the factory. I didn't do this. I might have done one of them, but you know, we're going to go back and seal all those because I don't like that. But the point is, the interior is going to be very, very minimalistic. Since it's just a race car, it's going to have probably a few gauges, and that's it, and some switches. So keeping it simple. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap this up. That's kind of the big announcement. It's race car only, so I'm sure I got a lot of catching up to do because there is, you know, quite a bit of things that have got done that you haven't seen yet. For example, getting those big tires to fit, I had to do like suspension work. I had to modify control arms and stuff like that. It was kind of a pain, but because these tires, they fit. But one thing you might, maybe y'all pick up on this. It's kind of hard to tell in a video. Notice the camber of this tire, or the lack of camber. It's actually got positive camber in the back, just barely, but that's actually positive, not negative, even though the car is lowered like hell. I'll try to see if this shows up better. Well, it's a black tire. Anyway, it's actually positive camber. I think it's even worse over here. Yeah, you can really see that there's a lot of positive camber on this side. So that's intentional. We had modified the control arms, which was a lot of work. This took several days. But we now have the suspension to where you can set the car at the ride height that I want to be at, and now you can go positive or negative on the camber using the factory adjusters. So, again, a lot of work, but it was important. When you try to lower the car this much, you end up with a ton of negative camber, which helps your tire fitment, but it's bad for traction. For drag racing, you basically want zero camber under load, which means you're going to have positive camber when you don't have a load, because these things, you know, they gain camber under compression. So that's another one. A lot of different projects, even some projects that got deleted since we're going race car now. But yeah, I figured I should get back to doing some videos. This is going to be, I'll try to keep the updates coming more regularly. But yeah, we're going to throw this thing together and get it to the track. That's the plan. I want to get the car running. I mean, we ran 690s before. I really want to get it to run 580s, but I don't think it's going to do it on this engine. But I think we'll probably get it into like the 630s, 620s, maybe even faster. We'll just have to see. But we got to get there and get it racing. So you guys are about to witness. We are going to get this thing thrown together and get it back to the track. So till next time, y'all take it easy.